Welcome to Oh My Jaw, the podcast where we tackle the truths behind TMJ disorders and the invisible battles so many of us face. I'm Jenny Feldman, your host and advocate, and today we're diving into the reality of living with an invisible illness. My guest, Michelle Sichelli, an incredible example of resilience, hope, and the power of faith in the face of TMJ disease. She's here to share her story, the challenges of looking better than you feel, the stigma of being dismissed when your pain isn't visible, and the parts of the journey we often hide out of shame or embarrassment. This conversation is a powerful reminder that just because someone seems fine on the outside doesn't mean they aren't fighting battles on the inside. Let's get into it. Okay. All right. We're going to start chatting. I'm never going to like the way I look, especially with you sitting on the other side of the screen, because you're absolutely stunning.
No, please. Going to that with all that, but
part of the problem is that you look too good. And we're going to talk about that. So I'm in this master's program, and it's all about health communication for social change. I switched. I originally went in thinking, oh, I'm going to go into like epidemiology and I'm going to figure out the science, and because that's really how I got into this whole thing. And I'm like, no one's going to care about the science if people don't even understand what this is, and we don't start getting people to like take it seriously. And so I shifted gears from, not that the science isn't important, the science is very important, but we can't get anyone to take the science seriously if they don't even believe that there's anything wrong with us, and stop telling us that we're crazy and it's in our head. And
it's all here. It's all here.
Yeah. Yeah. And I mean, you look fine. You look great. And I'm like, I'm glad you think I look fine, but when I look in the mirror, I see Shrek. So thank you very much.
I know. It's like they think a compliment, but at the same time, it's like, okay, but I'm on these medications and I'm going for my 33rd surgery. But thank you so much. I appreciate that.
Right. Like, so I want you to kind of introduce yourself a little bit, but I did print out a little bit about your journey, and I have written down in the early years. Here are the things I want us to talk about. I want us to talk about, and you're not going to like this. There's some resentment in the TMJ community about the fact that you look good. How does Michelle put on makeup? How does she exercise? How does she date? And I was like, that's why.
There we go.
That's what we need, is for people to keep having faith, which is a big part of your story.
Yeah.
And hope, which is a big part of my story, and to not give up on themselves. And it's very easy to lie in our beds.
Oh yeah, 100%. That, I mean, we could be doing that right now if we wanted to.
And we have, like, we'll talk about how long it took us to get on this call because of the exhaustion and the pain and how many times we had to reschedule to get it done. But I do want you to start talking about how this whole thing started, because I have down here that it started when you were young and you were having TMJ issues, but you didn't have any injuries. And then in 7th grade, something happened. And then in 10th grade, and then you started having treatment in your early 20s. So I'm going to let you kind of tell me what happened.
So we'll go back by, I think, so I had braces when I was like 14 years old, and I had them on for like 5 to 6 years, which was ridiculously long. Very, very long.
Were the braces just for cosmetic?
Just cosmetic when I was younger. I didn't even know I had jaw problems at that time. Not at all. Just the teeth, because I had a really bad overbite. So my parents got braces for me. Fast forward 5, 6 years when the braces finally came off. Jenny, I remember this day. I was sitting in the orthodontist office. He took the braces off, and I felt a click in my jaw.
Because let's go back and explain to people how they take braces off. They give you a piece of cotton to bite down on. They take a plier, and then they just yank, right?
It's just rip, rip, rip. Remember, each braces, they were the metal ones. Now they have really great ones that you could just like pop on, and they didn't have that back in our days.
They super glued them right on.
Exactly. Just right on, and they super glued them, and then when they took them off, it was, so they're yanking them. So what's happening when they're yanking them? This is going. So finally I heard the snap of my jaw, thinking nothing of it because I'm young, like what, 16, 17 years old. I'm like, okay. Fast forward a couple weeks later, I was eating waffles at my house and my jaw started clicking.
So
No,
it's not like you were eating something chewy. You weren't eating taffy. You weren't chewing a
no,
steak. It was a waffle.
a
Okay.
waffle, no gum, nothing like that. It started popping. And I'm like, now there was no pain at this time, no pain, just clicking. And I remember going to my mom, like, do you hear it? She's like, I hear the jaw. She's like, do you have pain? I'm like, no, it's just a weird noise. Okay, there's no pain. Months go by. Now I'm starting to get a bit more pain in my jaw from the popping.
What was the pain like? What type was it? Your jaw was tired. It was sharp. It was clicking.
I would say the clicking felt very like stiff feeling, and the pop would be like a sharp pain, but then go down. Sharp,
just on one side.
just one side. Went to my mom made an appointment with a ortho / TMJ specialist at the time. He's the
What
one.
What year was this? Sorry to keep interrupting.
No, I
Sorry.
think I was let's go back. To not say my age now.
No, because you said TMJ specialist, and it's interesting because now everyone's a TMJ specialist, but back then you had to really go digging, and we didn't. And I say back then, I don't know when it was, but it wasn't like as easy to find somebody because we didn't have docs and right.
2004 maybe, so it was still a time that not everybody, now everybody, you're so right, is a TMJ specialist. They come with that. You're right. But we had to dig for it then. And I remember going there. They did scans of me.
In what state was that?
New Jersey. He's the one who diagnosed me with TMJ. But he said at that time, he said that my jaw was deteriorating so bad. So I was 19 at the time. It was like an 80-year-old person's jaw. He said it was deteriorating so bad that I had to get my jaws out, that they would have to be replaced. Now, as a 19-year-old kid, I'm like, no, I am not doing that. I'm not having surgery. Like, could you imagine so much at 19? You didn't go into college. I was going to beauty school. I was becoming.
Yes, I can imagine because that happened to me. And now kids can imagine it because they've kind of normalized it, like, oh, something hurts, we'll just give you a new one. I mean, it's a shiny new jaw, but back then we were like, I'd have never heard of this. No one's ever done this. What are you talking about?
Yeah. And to me, I'm like, so you're going to rip my jaw out and he kept saying, it's like a knee replacement or a hip replacement.
Right. Then how come I don't know anyone who has one?
Yeah.
Right.
But I can't find anybody that has a jaw. Who has a jaw condition? So 19, I'm like, listen, I'm not doing that. I'm not doing a replacement. So he brought me to a surgeon in Staten Island at that time.
Our friend. Yeah,
our friend. And I told him that I'm not good with the replacement. I don't want to give me another option instead of just taking my jaw out. So he did a little surgery, which he took the disc out and put fat from my stomach into here. That was the first surgery.
I've had that done a number of times.
Oh yeah, right.
There's a lot of people who argue that works. I would argue, no, it effing doesn't. It's a huge waste of time, and I don't care. And you know what? I welcome any doctor to come to me and tell me why that works. Please tell me why that works.
It never worked for me. Same with you. Like I did it numerous times, and it never worked for me.
I've done it 3 or 4 times, and they're still talking about why it works. Why? Explain to me why.
Yeah. Because me and you, it didn't work. So
I don't know anyone who it's worked for long term. Anyway, okay, so you had that done.
So I won't go through every surgery, but when I stuck with
do a quick timeline.
When I went through, so when I was with that Staten Island surgeon, he did numerous surgeries on me until he was like, listen, I can't do anything else because your jaw is like done. We need to do a replacement at this time. So I finally did the replacement. They started with my right jaw. And then a year later, they took out the left jaw because they wanted to do it at the same time. He didn't.
Why? Now I ask you that because this is another point of contention that a lot of patients are having, which is if this joint, which we understand, is the only joint in your body that doesn't work independently. You can move one knee without moving the other. You can move one wrist without moving the other. You can't move one side of your jaw without affecting the other. They don't work independently. Why do surgeons think that they can replace one side without it impacting the other?
Exactly. That was my point too. You're so right about that. That's a good point with doing that. And that's what I didn't understand. And that's what I think messed me up so much worse, because he did this and then this one afterwards. And it was, this one took fine. Jenny, this one has been in here, the grace of God, for 12 years now. And there's supposed
I'm the same. My left side is nothing compared to my right. My right
to,
side has always been a problem.
and now my right side is fine, but my left side is messed up for years. It's crazy how that happens. So this has been fine. He did this one afterwards. Ever since he did the left side, you just know your body. Everybody knows your body, how you're. I came out of that surgery a week or two later. I remember going to my parents. I'm like, it does not feel right. It doesn't feel like this one. Something is wrong. Like something is wrong. I knew if it was the placement, I have no idea. Fast forward.
And did you have a custom total joint replacement or a stock? Meaning I'm just explaining it for anyone who's watching. So there are two companies at the time. I think it was probably TMJ Concepts, which has now been bought by Stryker. That's the custom joint. And then Biomet, which is like small, medium, large stock. Did you have custom or stock?
So I had custom where they made it out there. Like you said too, like they could, if we go to the hospital and they just have it on hand and they do it, that's the same thing. I'm glad you explained that. A lot of people don't know that. So
and how did you pay for this?
So I had Medicare, thank God, at the time. But at the same time, I wasn't working at all. So I don't know if you know about Medicare, but they only cover 80%. So the 20%, if it's a big surgery, you're still left with a lot. I had to sign up for charity care. So thankfully, they took charity care the rest of it. So I was okay with that. But remember too, with surgery, not every surgeon, you know this too, takes insurance. They want out of pocket, correct, Jenny?
So what you're telling is a very interesting story, because the doctor that you went to after you, when they realize the loss that they take on the Medicare reimbursement, he stopped taking Medicare for that particular surgery after you, because I saw him after you. Then the surgeon that I see in Boston took Medicare for me. And now patients that are going to him after me, he's hesitant, not that they don't, I don't want to say don't, but a lot of them opt out. They're non-par. They don't participate in Medicare because the reimbursement is, they take such a hit that they have to explain to their hospital system why they're taking these cases that they're losing money on, and they know most patients are going to have another surgery. So then they're going to have to take a hit on a hit on a hit.
And especially people like us
right,
that have numerous, they don't want to do that. So you're so right about that. See how that happened right after me? He was like, no, we're not taking anymore. So
right.
Says right there.
Okay. So I'm sorry, I interrupted. I'm just,
no, you're good.
Yeah.
So I've had numerous surgeries. The main cause of all this, like I said, I'm going for my 33rd surgery.
Say that number again, because I don't think people really comprehend that the reason that it's so important for people to understand that this is not in your head is I'm looking at you, the world can see you. You are the most positive outlook human being that I know. This is not you that you're just like a ball of stress and you're overreacting and you're histrionic. This is, you're not asking for surgery. They're telling you you need it because of an infection. Explain the biofilm infection.
Exactly. So a couple years ago when I got let's go back a couple of years ago when they took my skin was peeling. Jenny remembers this. And I was allergic, they said, to the prosthetic jaw and it had to come out. Now, Jenny knows these surgeries aren't just small surgeries. When you put a prosthetic jaw on, they're big surgeries. They're horrible. They take a lot out of you. There's a lot of pain. They cut here and they cut here. So it's a lot. I didn't have the right infectious disease doctor years ago either, because he kept saying if I had 5 infections and I went down to 4 or 3, put the prosthetic jaw in, it's fine. At least it's not 5.
So what we also know about these total joint replacements is they're either tremendously successful, usually on patients that haven't had prior operations.
Correct.
And when they don't work, it's usually an allergy or systemic rejection to the metals that are in them, or some sort of infection. And the allergy to metals, these doctors, they will or they will not ask you to go get metal testing ahead of time, which sometimes doesn't even show, because your body can then become allergic to the metal after it's already in you.
Exactly.
And even if you test positive ahead of time, then you have to get on a list for an all titanium joint, and then that takes an extended period of time to get. Okay.
And also too, with they usually test you, like you said, but that's an out-of-pocket expense too. If you don't have the money, guess what? They don't care. You have to have the money on you to do that testing. And at that time, I didn't have the money. So guess what? I had to just wing it and see if I got infected. So do a big surgery and see. And who suffers? The patient.
Tell us how much the testing cost. And even if the test came back negative, could you have gone without a joint, or you would have to move forward anyway?
If it came back negative, like
if it came back positive that you had a metal sensitivity, what would you have done?
Oh, I wouldn't have put anything in anyway. But then guess what would happen afterwards? If they would just put the jaw in, it would have to come back out anyway. So I would have went through a whole surgery, and guess what? I think it was between $200 and $300 out of pocket. I mean, come on, and it could go up to 500 too. So
I was gonna say mine was 600.
And at that time, I'm not working. I'm doing everything. That $200-$300 is a lot of money for someone that does.
Why were you on Medicare? Because I am on Medicare. I've been on Medicare and disabled since I'm 40. And explain how you qualified for Medicare, if you don't mind.
So I went to the state and I'm on lifetime disability.
So much.
I went on there because every time I went to work, I would get another surgery. And I was a makeup artist at Lancome and Estee Lauder. I loved what I did, but they couldn't hold my job. And every time I remember, Jenny, I would go into work. There's a lot of talking to involve in it. Do I look the part? Do I look great as a makeup artist? Yeah. But guess what? At the end of the day, when you're speaking like this, you're in a ton of pain. It wasn't worth it at the end of the day. I wasn't enjoying my job at the end of the day because I was always leaving work early because I was in so much pain. So thank God the judge that I had at that time, she took everything in account and she was like, no, like you need this income coming in. You can't just be going job to job. You need that. And thank God I have Medicare now. So,
but it wasn't Medicare because of TMJ. So what was the condition that qualified you? Was it chronic pain? Was it arthritis? What?
It was the chronic pain. And it wasn't really the TMJ, because if you say TMJ, it's not really that. It was the chronic pain I know. The same thing. So it was the chronic pain that was putting me in, because I was in my bed constantly all the time. And if I was on medication, of course, you don't want to drive like that. You don't want to do it. So you're in your house 24/7. So that's why she gave me that for Medicare, thankfully.
Okay. So then they go in and they put in. So now you're done with Staten Island, or you're still in Staten Island?
So I left Staten Island when I found out that I had an infection. And also he kind of was, I was a very big case that he couldn't really figure out anymore, that he told me, and he wanted to just listen. I think you should go with a younger surgeon to see if they could help you. That's what he said.
You want to know what he said to me when I went to see him? I can't believe I'm going to say it. So I told him, I showed him my scans, and he said, I'll look at these scans and in 5 minutes, I'll tell you how we're going to fix this.
What?
I'm still waiting for his call back. And then he said, that'll be $65,000. I said, I don't have $65,000. And he said, you're a pretty girl. I'm sure you can get a nice guy to pay for it. I mean, the way that we're spoken to by these guys is so
I
disgusting. And
like, what?
yeah. And when I called the doctor who referred me to him, his comment was, oh, that's just how he talks. And I thought, okay.
And
well,
that's acceptable? Okay, no.
what guy is going to want to pay for a surgery that's about to wire my jaw shut? How is that sexy?
I know. What? How is that sexy at all? I mean, come on, not like a boob job or something.
Yeah, exactly. Or do I get free boobs with that? Right.
No, I wish one of our jaw surgeries came with something like that. Then it would be amazing. But
I said, yeah, if you're going to take out ribs while you're making that incision, can you help me out a little bit? Right.
exactly.
Okay. So, and now I want to, now that we're talking about that, I want to get into like, you got married. So you did date, right?
Oh, yeah. So I'm divorced now, but
Yeah.
I did get married in 2013. I dated. Even before I got married, dating was hard. It was hard because it's hard to go out with someone to say, you know what, I have jaw disease and TMJ, and I have a surgery every 3 months, and I can't. If we go out to dinner, if we go to a certain place, I can't eat steak and stuff like that. You know how it is, Jenny.
I
And
don't even want to eat in front of anyone.
I
I just don't want
either.
to.
It's so embarrassing, and I can't feel my face.
None.
And if we're drooling on ourselves, I can't even feel it.
No.
So we don't feel sexy at the time either. So it's very hard to date when you're going, because most of the dating, what is 80%? You're going out to dinner. Let's be real.
Yeah. Or you're trying to be intimate and it's like, and then every joke, I'm like, oh, that's new. I haven't heard that joke before. Ha ha ha. Yeah.
Well, they think the opposite too. If you have a prosthetic jaw,
Oh, they think you can unhinge that thing. Right.
yeah, but it's the opposite. I'm like, no, it gives us pain. Like, come on. So intimacy is very hard for us, and to just go on a date. You know, I did get married in 2013. He was there for me with all my surgeries and stuff. Not this has nothing to do with the TMJ. But I got divorced later on. Other than that, he was just not a great guy. Let's say it like that.
Well, I try to like take a step back from, because my marriage ended too. And as much as I don't want to say it's because of the TMJ thing, it didn't help.
Oh no.
And I take a lot of accountability, because now once you start dating other people, you realize I asked a lot. I mean, I wasn't an easy person to date or to be married to. And then, I really want to talk about becoming a mother and the fact that played into your life plan as to whether or not you could have children and how you would be able to carry a child, have a child, raise a child, provide for a child. How did that affect your marriage or your decisions?
I mean, it definitely did affect our marriage because I'm a nurturer and I've always wanted to be a mother my whole life. I had so much love to give in the fact too. And like you said, in a marriage with this, it's a lot. Surgeries, everything else. We go through a lot. Going through surgeries, I knew, talking to doctors and everything, would I be able to carry medication, surgeries? No. So I had to take a step back and be like, okay, if not, then adoption, maybe, that might be it. But at the time, my ex didn't want that, and that's where we were bumping heads. And it gets to the point where you guys are fighting more than anything, and you're not looking straight ahead on it anymore. So it brought a lot of dark times into my marriage with TMJ.
And then you had a dog.
Yep.
And did that, 2 dogs.
Yeah.
So I have a dog, and that was a recommendation of my surgeon in New York. Get a dog, it'll force you to get up and get out of the house. It'll force you to walk the dog. And what it ended up doing was force me to buy a lot of pee pads to keep in my house so that have to go outside.
Out for Bella, exactly.
And I was just like, oh, thank you so much for this added expense. I mean, I adore the dog some days, and other days I'm like, can I drop kick this dog out of my house? But
So
I
true.
think
A lot.
a lot of patients, you know, the dogs offer emotional support. I say it all the time, so I don't have to talk to myself. I talk to the dog. I complain to the dog, so I don't have to complain to people. But dogs don't replace children. But how do you feel like having pets helps patients or doesn't?
Oh, Jackson was my best friend. And honestly, without him, I don't know if I would have been the same person going through all the surgeries. He was such a great dog. Yes, the times where I couldn't even move out of bed and, I couldn't let him out. Yes, there's days like that. And I think that's what really was the worst part of the divorce at the end, because I don't have him anymore. He took him.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, it was so bad after that. And he
You
was,
want mine?
oh my gosh, yes. So, and I have Bella now that my parents got me, the little Sheltie dog. But it's just different that Jackson was everything to me. He was by me with every surgery. And I swear animals know when you're in pain. They know.
Yes.
They'll cuddle by you, Jenny. They'll go by you, be their companion. They know automatically. So I was very blessed to have him for 10 years by my side, through every surgery. So I was thankful for that. Even if I didn't have a child, a human child, my fur baby always
Mhm.
helped through,
Yeah.
So it was really good for that.
And then, so 33 surgeries, and what the world needs to understand is you're not done.
Oh no, because looking at me right now, Jane, there is no prosthetic jaw on my left side right now.
Explain.
So going back a bit, like I said, I've had infection, and the surgeon that I've had took out 2 to 3 prosthetics on this side. And like I said, they're big surgeries, Jenny knows. And at the time, I got a good infectious disease doctor. Now he was like, listen, you're putting this girl through so many surgeries, unnecessary. She keeps having so many infections. You can't put anything in unless it all comes back zero.
What kind of infection? A systemic infection, or an infection at the site, or an infection on the implant?
So it was infection. There was nothing in there at the time. There still isn't. There's still infection in here. So it's by the bone and the tissue in here. So right now I just have bone left here and bone here. There's just scar tissue in here that's holding it together, because people look at me and they're like, you have no prosthetic jaw on the side?
Because when I had no prosthetic jaw on the side, I had a completely gaping open mouth. Like,
Yeah.
Yeah. So the fact that you're able to even close your mouth just tells me that it's filled with scar tissue.
Oh, it's ton, because yours was open, right? I
Yeah.
mean, my surgeon right now says every time he cuts me, he said, Michelle, I have to it's layer after layer after. It takes him so long to even get to the root of it, because I have so much scar tissue. That's why right now, like, I'm like this. Everything is off. My teeth are like this. If I open my mouth, you would see it like that. Right? If you saw me up close, you could see this one is so much more swollen.
I do.
Here.
I do.
This
Yeah.
is all infected here. I cover it to make it seem like a little bit, better.
Yeah. Talk about the hair. Talk about the hair.
Me and my shaved head. People always think that. And Jenny, the other day, I went out and I was like this. So let's see if I could do this real quick. And it's like I didn't even have a shaved head again. So I just went like this, and I was like, look, it's like it never was there at all.
But it's so hot, the shaved head. I mean, if I could pull it off, but I can't.
Yes, you can, please.
Please.
But I've had every time I went for a surgery, the surgeon usually shaves us a bit every time.
See, that's another thing. Maybe it's because my mother was who she was. They never shaved me more than up to here. And maybe it's because I never got the infection that you got, but they're probably so afraid with the infection that they shave the hair.
Oh, maybe that's why, because I've had really bad infections. But they've shaved it all the way up to here, right here. So I'm like, listen, a couple years ago, I'm like, every time they do this, grows back, you're doing it every 3 to 4 months, you're going for a surgery. I said, listen, just just shave it. I went to my hairdresser. That's big. I'm such a girly girl. Jenny knows this. I'm a fashion girl, everything else. Me shaving my head, I was like, listen, I don't know how I'm going to rock this and pull it off, but let's just do it.
Yeah.
And Jenny knows for like maybe 5 years now, I've had it like this. And everybody thinks it's just a style. You know, they don't even know it's jaw disease unless you actually look and then you see the scars on my face. Then
But I've noticed in the TMJ community, if you look on it, it's like a thing. A lot of patients are doing it and really owning it.
love that.
Yeah, and I think I love that it's kind of a statement of the TMJ community, because I've seen a bunch of it and I was like, maybe that's something I'm missing, that's a statement. Like if you see that, that's TMJ.
Yeah,
Like,
I think that's great. See, Jenny, you're the next one. You got to go next. You can rock it out.
oh yeah, yeah. Well, I've had brain surgery, so I have a scar that runs from here across to here. So if I shave it, I don't know.
You could
Like, I
still,
give a shit at this point. I mean, I have scars running all over the place.
you know what? Same thing too. I was so insecure with my scars on the side and going back to dating because I dated after divorce. You know,
Yeah.
I've been on a date with a guy that we're talking and he saw this and he saw the scars. And literally, I swear to you, he said, you didn't tell me this before the date that I looked like this with my scars. He made me feel absolutely like crap. Horrible.
What you didn't tell him, what? That you had surgery or that you had scars?
First of all, we didn't even get into he was talking about the scars. We didn't even talk about my surgeries or anything like that until I actually got to the date and I'm on the date with him. I was going to tell him there. He saw the scars here and he thought it was the most disgusting thing ever. Ever.
Well, yeah. I mean, I was out the other night and I was on a date and the question came up about past surgeries and I said, you don't want to know. I said, you don't want to know. And his answer was you're right. I don't want to see the before pictures. And I was like, no, you really don't.
Oh my gosh, he said that?
No, but it's true because
True. He's being honest. I mean,
it's true because it's not attractive. It's not who I am. It
yeah,
makes me who I am now, but like that's some of the stuff that, like, great, it's great for a CBS story. It shows the horror of it, but that's one of the issues that I have with this. Why should I have to show you the brutality of this for you to take me seriously? If I say I've lived through it, that should be good enough. I shouldn't have to show you blood and guts for you to go, oh, it's real.
that's what I get all the time on my pages. So I have my Instagram, the Chronically Fashionable. You don't have anything. You look
Right.
fine. You look fine as anything. You put makeup on, you go to the gym, you do 4 miles a day. You're not sick. It's all in your head. You just want attention. Do you know how many times I get, you just want attention for being sick?
Oh, look, do I want attention? Yeah, I'm a girl. We all want attention.
Of course. Not
That's
this.
a different kind of attention, people.
Exactly. That is it. I don't want attention for jaw disease. I don't want attention for going in the hospital. Trust me.
Right.
Being poked and prod, that is not for us. You're right. We are a woman. We are. I am needy. I love attention. I'll be realistic. Come on.
I'm an attention whore. Like, give it to me. Please,
Exactly.
pay attention to me. But I'm not some. If it's for TMJ awareness and it's to end the stigma and to let people know, look, this is a real thing. I'm not somebody who just enjoys staying home. I'm not doing this to get pain medicine. I'm not doing this because I think it makes me stand out in a crowd. I stand out in a crowd because I have a big mouth when it's not wired shut. Then I'll post it.
Yep.
I'm not posting it because I want you to say, it's old, it's tired, it's stale, nobody really cares anymore. But it's a necessary thing. And thank you so much for doing this podcast, because do you know how hard it is to get patients to even show their face? Everyone wants awareness for this thing, but everyone's too embarrassed to even admit they have it.
Yep.
It's like an eye roll, like, oh, and what else do you have? Fibromyalgia,
That's so true. But you know what? And you're the way I hate when I talk because I can't feel it here.
I have a lisp. Yeah.
It's so bad. But you know what? At the end of the day, Jenny, You are doing so much good on this podcast, and I am so proud of you. And I'm so thankful that you're doing this, because you are, for so many people that are in bed right now that don't want to be on the screen. And trust me, we don't want to be on the screen like this and the talking and everything else, but it needs to get out there.
Well, the thing that they're going to say is, well, look at you guys. You look so good. It doesn't matter what we look like to the outside world. We look in the mirror and we see scars and we see asymmetry and we see flaws, and we suck it up and go, you know what? I've faced death 30 plus times and I'm still here.
Yep. And honestly, at the end of the day, you know how much my faith means to me. I mean, I've gotten so many DMs. I can't tell you. You've been through 33 surgeries. How are you so positive all the time? How do you get up and get dressed and do your makeup? Because you know what? We have one life to live. That's it. Do we have great doctors? Yes, to help us get out of bed. And trust me, the internet doesn't see when I'm crying in this bed over here, okay? And I'm for the whole day, 24 hours. Because when me and you are doing something for 2-3 days and our body takes a hit, we're down for the count. But we don't show the world that ugly side sometimes. We show the best parts of us because we don't know how to show that, of course.
And social media, everyone should recognize that. When you go on Facebook, people don't show even you when you're in a hospital bed, you look your best. You're taking a picture. You're not showing yourself with the blood dripping down and
but that's what they want to see for that. I take the before picture like, hey guys, I'm going into surgery, not afterwards where I'm bleeding and I have you're right. You're totally right. Yeah. But then the world sees us as everything else. Well, that they're not really this. They can't. And the pain, I have to say, Jenny knows this. And my doctor said this a while ago. The worst pain ever is in the face right here. And you can't see it. We feel it 24/7. Thank God for our doctors. But it's the worst pain. You're talking through your mouth all the time. You're eating. You're,
breathing, sneezing. Right.
Yeah, it all comes from the facial. So you think about that.
So let's talk about when people say, how do you stay so positive? And I know that you and I are both people that believe in God.
Yes.
Whatever we call it, you and I have different religions, but we're both very much connected to God. Mm-hmm. And I say, Hope, my daughter Hope, is very much, when I go into surgery, she knows that the doctor's there, he's got the instruments, there's people there, but there's something bigger in the universe who's making sure that I get through that. Yep. And I know for you, you're very much a faith-based person. So can you talk a little bit about how that plays a part in keeping ground?
And Hope, my friends.
Yeah. Well, and that's the other thing. Finding a good television show to binge that keeps you distracted and keeps you laughing.
100%. Yes. All the time. Friends is the one. But going back to having our faith, and everyone's different. Everyone's. But my faith in God has been since I was young at the age, even before I got diagnosed with TMJ condition and all of that. Years ago, everybody has certain rock bottoms, and there's days where my faith is lacking. Not that my faith is gone, but sometimes like, God, like I've been through 33 surgeries. I'm still not healed. I still have the same. Why? Like I kept questioning God in my head. Why? But I kept coming back to in the Bible, everything. God has a reason for everything. He knew before I was born what I was going to go through, what you were going to go through. And today, being on this podcast, I know there's people out there that are going to hear me and you and be like, that ray of hope, that's where God comes into it, helping them through. You know what? I am going to get out of bed today, go for a little walk around to make myself feel better because I saw this. I've gotten DMs, Jenny, that said, Michelle, I don't know how you do it. I don't even have what you have. I'm just a new mom, but you helped me get out of bed today to help my newborn and snap out of it a little bit today. Those are the things that we could show the world, that despite the pain and everything that we go through, God has always been there for me. So that faith in God, it's my anchor. It really is. So me smiling and getting through. Do I still have pain? 100%. Am I just hot, happy and go lucky 24/7. No, not all the time, but I am happy with my life because I knew God intended what we go through. We were going to go through it, and we're making the best we can. You have Hope, and she is such a ray of sunshine. I love that girl. She
loves you. She loves you.
She is such a light, and you guys together is just like, that's I see you get up and that's your girl, and her just even going to college to figure out this for us, like that blows my mind. So without God, I would not be here today, honestly. So he's a huge anchor in my life.
And then, what's so funny about us is I feel so connected to you. It's such an unbelievable bond that I have with you. And what the world doesn't understand is you and I have never been in the same room together.
Not once, but if she called me, I'd pick up in a second. And it's like we've never been separate before. Like
I don't even know how we met, how we connected.
I don't know either. I have no idea.
But I feel that with you, and I think that that's what's lacking in this whole TMJ community is everyone's so much in this, but I don't have what she has. I have to have exactly what they have, or I'm not going to relate. And it's like, look, what this oh my jaw thing is trying to do is pull everyone together, whether it's I have Ehlers-Danlos in TMJ, I have Lyme disease in TMJ, I have arthritis in TMJ. I don't care what your overlapping condition is. I don't know if I have TMJ, but my jaw hurts sometimes. Everyone needs to come together because the more people we have telling their stories, the more we can convince whoever the powers that be that there needs to be more done.
Yeah. And it's in the TMJ community, I feel like it's a lot of competition, I feel like, with each other. Well, I have this, I have that. Let's just all come together. The more support for each other that's what we need for each other.
The competition thing, because it is a real thing. Like mine's the worst. I've had the most surgeries. Explain.
Because it's always like, Jenny knows this, back years ago when we were in those, web things and talking to each other. Well, mine was so much worse. I had a surgery. And I would be talking to people, not that, and one girl that I had a talk with, I kept saying to her, I'm not saying my pain is worse than yours or my surgery is worse than yours. Just come together. And there's some people in the group that try to make it like theirs is worse than mine. And we should all just come together and be like, despite we all have different pain levels, every day is different. But it's like I said, it's a competition thing sometimes with some people.
The words from another person who suffers from any sort of temporomandibular problem.
Yeah.
When they say, you don't understand, that's the issue. They should never tell another person who suffers from temporomandibular stuff, you don't understand. They should assume, oh, you must understand because you
know what I'm going through. Yep.
Yeah. But there's a wall, there's a barrier, like mine's different than yours. Instead of we're all living through this confusing, nobody understands. And instead we're all fighting with each other.
And then I have my close girlfriends, Jen, I have a couple girls with the same jaw that we've never been like that. Me and you, we're all like, listen, I get it. I got this doctor. You help me with doctors. Jenny has helped me with doctors. I would not be here today without those doctors. Okay. But we've never been like a competition thing. It's like, I get it. Like I've been in bed for 2 days too, Jenny, like get in bed. If you need anything, I'm here. Like, it's more of a support for each other. That's a support of sisterhood. That's what we need for each other, not to come against each other. But guess what? I have the same crap going in my life. This is what worked for me. That's what we need to do.
And only people that have this situation going on will understand, hey, I'm sorry I didn't call you back for 3 weeks, but I've been indisposed. And I have other friends who will say, you're not a good friend because you didn't call me back.
Oh my gosh.
Amount of time.
Even family.
Yeah. I'll text you all day long. I'm a great texter. You want to text, buddy? I'll text. But being on the phone is...
we can't. Like after this, we're going to be in pain afterwards. We're realistic. because we're talking, you know?
Let's talk about the fact that you and I had a full text conversation about the fact that we had to medicate just to do this.
Forward, come out. Exactly. And it took us about almost a whole week to just get a schedule on this because we've been up and down, canceling and this and that. So,
Right. And not canceling because we're going out dancing, canceling because I was like, that's not a good time of day. The weather wasn't good.
take my medication at a certain time. Okay, I know that I'll be numbed up for this long, and then afterwards I'll have to be more numbed up afterwards. So it's not easy for people like us. They see things from that, but they don't know underneath what took to get us to this point.
And I want to ask you another question because you mentioned family. Family starts out very supportive in the beginning because they, they saw it. Like you said, your mother heard the clicking when you were in your teens. As you get older, they start to lose
Hope and you know what? I'm recently,
patience.
yep, more. Well, you go to the gym, Michelle. You can't get a full-time job. Seems like a little weird to me. Like, I've heard stuff a lot, and it's been lately, and it hurts because it's like you've known about my condition for so long. Yes, the gym makes me feel great. I do it 4 hours, 4 hours, 4 miles, and then I come back home. Will I suffer? Yes, but it's like I accomplished something afterwards. And
It raises your endorphins and your serotonin levels. I mean, that's
the best part. And my doctors, the same doctor we have, he always says, he goes, Michelle, get to the gym. Even if you're not feeling good, get to that gym. Take your medication and get to the gym and go there. And you would think doctors know the best, right? But then there's family that's like, you know what? You're dating, you go out on dates, you are going to the gym. It's attention, Michelle. You just want attention. Grow up. Like, I don't know how many times I've heard that.
right.
And it's just like in my heart automatically.
And these are the family members who are driving you to the surgeries, watching you recover,
Yep.
hearing the doctor, seeing the scans. So that's a testament to just how difficult it is to break that stigma when the people that are watching you up close and personal are still going, okay, here was the catchphrase in my house was, haven't you milked this long enough?
Oh my God. I can't believe that.
Milked it.
Milked it. Like, this is the thing that I don't get. Like, if I'm going to be, like we said, that be like needy and attention for something, it would not be this. Trust me. I
Right.
do not have pleasure going to a hospital and getting our jaws ripped out. It
Right.
would not be that at all.
Right.
We try to do the best out of it with, like, with my family, with going out and looking a certain way. It's kind of like the same thing. Well, enough is enough. Like, someone said something to me the other day and said, aren't you done with this fake act for a while? Put it to rest. And it's like, okay. Yeah, like this was a whole act thing, putting it on and getting attention out of it. And don't you think you should just be like, come to the realization, like, okay, I don't have chronic illness anymore. I was just pretending all these years, guys, just for attention. That's what they made me feel like. And I'm like, wow, out of all these years, surgeries, endless surgeries, infections, crying in pain, you still don't get anything out of this. You didn't see anything. Like, that's what hurts the worst.
And it's just, it's triggering. I hate to use the word triggering. It's triggering for me because I go through it. And when I don't look good, everyone looks at me like, get it together, Jenny. Get it together. And then when I don't look good, when I'm not dressed, when I don't have makeup on, my friends and my family are like, oh, get it together. You haven't had surgery in a year and it's time, move on. And then when I get dressed and put my makeup on and they say, why are you doing this oh my jaw thing? You're fine now. It's over.
So you can't win either way.
Yeah, you're fine. Why are you so why? Oh, so now that you're not having surgery, now you're still looking for attention. I was like, no, this is my window before the next surgery. When's the next surgery? I'm not sure yet. As soon as I
Like,
can't fit a toothbrush in my mouth, that's when the next surgery.
exactly. That is the same thing, just like with my chronic illness, my page on there, same thing. You're dressing up, you're doing the attention thing for it, like do something else. Like, I don't get it. But then if I don't have any makeup on and you could see all the scars and I'm in pain, well, suck it up, take your pain medication and go. You can't win either way. And this is what we want the world to realize, that chronic pain, you can't see it from the outside. Me and you do good, and we need that awareness out there that you can't see TMJ from the outside. You don't see what we suffer with. You don't see the backlash that we get. You don't see the pain.
What do you say to patients who haven't had the first surgery yet, but are thinking of getting a total jaw replacement for reasons like, I can't fit my tongue in my mouth. I don't like the way my face looks. I'm feeling some clicking and popping, but I'm not in any pain. That don't have pain.
That don't have pain?
Yeah.
Wait. Do your research, honestly. Do not jump into a surgery because a doctor has said, listen, you need to get it out. You need to do this. If I could go back, honestly, I wish I wouldn't have took my regular jaws out. I wish I didn't, because I was so much. Maybe today, I don't know. It's only the grace of God. Maybe I would have been the same. I don't know. But I would honestly tell them to take a step back, do your research. Don't just gun-ho it and take your jaws out and put a replacement, because all the infection that comes with it, all the surgeries that come with it, it's a lot. And I do not think that any doctor right now out there knows how to treat this correctly yet. There's still biofilm, which is an infection that nobody can treat yet.
Right. And then talk about, you've had, since I've known you, a lot of PICC lines. What's it like to live with a PICC line? And explain what a PICC line is.
So a PICC line goes with infection. I've stated in here that I've had numerous infections. Today, I still have 4 to 5 infections on the side in the tissue. A PICC line is, instead of an oral antibiotic, it's an IV line. So what they do is they put it here. It's a long tube, very thin, and they put it in your vein. And they put it here, and it goes here all the way by your heart. And every day, whatever the doctor, it's the infection that you have, they'll put the right antibiotic to it. So whatever antibiotic goes into your line. So Medicare, I've had that. I couldn't have nurses assistants. So I had to get up every day and go to a place where I would sit down. They would get the IV line already in me, because I sleep with it, I shower with it, and I'll go through that too, because that's a lot. But every day I would have to sit there about 2 hours a day to get my infectious disease doctor to get my antibiotics in me. And because it would be a lot easier for me to just have it at home, but it was about $600 a day for 12 weeks. And I don't have $600 a day. So my insurance said, well, you know what? You get up every morning and you sit in that chair for 2 hours a day and then come back. And antibiotics knock you out, make you so tired. So afterwards, I have to drive home being tired. So I've had about 8 to 10 PICC lines. Now my veins are shot, because when I go even for surgery, they can't find one on me. Sometimes it's in my feet, the vein. Next time, if I get a PICC line, they want to put it in my chest because they blew so many veins out.
What's it like for you to go to the dentist? When you go to the dentist, do they try to pre-medicate you?
Oh, my dentist is a great dentist, but he'll always say beforehand, take your pain meds an hour beforehand, because we're going to.
What about antibiotics? Do they try to give you antibiotics?
I take it already, but they don't give do they do it for you?
Well, no, because now they're saying, remember, I caught recurrent C. diff, which is an antibiotic resistant infection, because I had so many antibiotics that it screwed with my gut microbiome. And
I remember that.
So everybody has their own set of problems. So I was petrified of getting a biofilm infection, because I thought, oh my God, more antibiotics. I don't know if I could handle that. So when I go to the dentist, I don't take the antibiotics ahead of time, but everyone's different, and I'm not a doctor, although I play one in real life.
I take pain medication before I go because he stretches it. First of
Oh,
all,
I take pain medication. Yeah, sure.
we do that, pop that in and like
Yeah,
go,
yeah,
they stretch it open and everything like that. And on top of it, I have gum rescission because
yes.
of all that. And I don't have dental insurance. Medicare doesn't pay dental. So I pay out of pocket for everything. And where am I getting my money from? It's very hard. And you want to take, and when you have jaw issues, you got to take care of your teeth. Because if they go really bad, what happens to us? We're in that chair and the jaw's going to hurt worse
Yeah,
afterwards.
yeah.
So that's a whole different can. But thank God my teeth have been fine right now. But I can't even floss because I can't get back there.
No, can't get back there.
Exactly.
And then interestingly enough, because of the hair and the beauty thing, I get petrified to go to the hair salon because you never know if the lady washing your hair is gonna like all of a sudden scrub really hard by your ears.
Oh yeah.
Or I once whacked my head on the side of the sink bowl, or there's always something, or they're trying to get dye off and they scrub really hard. I'm like, oh my God. So do you find yourself telling people when they're touching you, like, be careful, or
You know, many years ago, I didn't speak up for myself at all, and then I would suffer in pain. Now it's different. First of all, I have my cosmetology license, so I dye my hair myself and I cut the ends on myself. Being in a sink where it's back, it kills you because everything, the neck up, that's all connected. People don't understand, but the jaw and the neck is all connected. And when you're in there, you get a lot of pain from there. The only thing I can't do myself is a shave part with this. So when I go to a barber, the first time I went to it, I remember he was going like this over it. Now, over here, the bone that sticks out. The last time he cuts him off, the surgeon, but he went over it. I shot through the roof because it hurt so bad. He goes, "Are you okay?" I said, "Listen, he knew about my jaw surgeries to the barber. He was going so hard. Afterwards, I spoke up. Ever since then, Jenny, every time I go there, he goes so soft over it. He takes his time because I spoke up. And I think the best thing is the old me would have just shut up, not say anything, just suffered in pain. It's best to speak up and be like, listen, you're hurting me. You see everything here. Take your time.
I want to acknowledge that because I've known you now for a lot of years, and your entire demeanor and your ability to self-advocate has become so phenomenal, unfortunately, as a result of this awful experience. But you used to be a very submissive, whatever the doctor says, I'm not going to snap back. I'm not going to push back. He knows best. I'm just a patient. And now I feel like you walk in as, look, I need to advocate for myself. I know you're the doctor, but you said it from the jump. I know my body.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, my body. I know you see what you see when you get in there, but I'm telling you before you get in there what you're going to find.
Exactly. And you're so right. I was very timid years ago. I was very timid. I was very shy. It's okay. The doctor knows what's best. He's the one who went to college for being a doctor. And I would just sit back. Not anymore. And honestly, I think it took me going through a divorce
you took the words right out of my mouth. Yes.
Yep. It took me being independent on my own, not having anyone on my side that, you know what, I got to do this crap on my own. But it made me grow into the Michelle that I absolutely love, that I'm not letting any doctor take advantage of me, that, you know what, we're not going to do that yet. I'll let you know if I do it. I'm going to research it and let you know afterwards. And I have to say, Jenny, you are the one that was in my life through the divorce and everything else. You are the one that helped me get through. I always saw you as an independent woman that I was like, listen, I'm such a timid woman. I want to be like her. Every time I would think that. You're an amazing role model. You're an amazing advocate. You're an amazing mother, first of all. You're an amazing mother. Everything that you've been through with TMJ, and still at the end of the day, an amazing mother. If I had a child, gosh, I wish I would be just, if I do have a kid one day, I'm going to be just like you. That's what I want.
You're amazing.
Woman. You really are.
No, thank you, Michelle. This has been incredible. And I think that the final message of, instead of letting this beat you down, let it give you your voice. Let it give you your voice and let it empower you and let it make you stronger and not weaker. And we're not victims, we're survivors. And that's the message. I'm not a victim of this. I'm a badass. So are you.
We
Yeah.
are survivors out of this. And today we have that story and we're going to get that awareness out there. I love that. That's perfect.
I love you.
All right, that's a wrap on this episode of On My Jaw. Huge thanks to everyone for tuning in. We'll see you. We appreciate you. If you're vibing with what you've heard, don't forget to hit that follow button, subscribe wherever you're listening, and most importantly, share this with your crew. You never know who might need to hear it. We've got new content dropping every other week, so keep your eyes peeled and your ears open. Stay tuned, stay connected, and we'll catch you next time. Until then, take care of yourselves, and remember, it's not all in your head.